Hello, and a hearty welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About. Let's Talk About is a program that's aimed at discussing real situations and also giving us what it takes to understand social issues that bother us as Christians. Today is the first in the series of the March programs, and to help us discuss another very interesting topic, a topic that will interest you and I, is what we discuss, what we term as or coined as your health, our wealth. What can we do, or what we can do? And to help us discuss this all-important program is to my immediate left, Dr. Erajua Kankam Yeboah. She is a family health practitioner with which hospital? Nyaho Medical Center. And interestingly, she's a member of the church as well. Next to Erajua is our own Dr. Kofi Osei-Tutu. I'm sure today members of the church would wonder if Kofi speaks at all. Yes, because many people think Kofi is a very quiet type and does not speak. We'll find out today. And without much ado, I'd like again to welcome you and say, please share the link as much as you can. And don't forget to bring in your questions through our social media platforms, our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. As we go along, we'll put the number on the screen if you don't have it already. But just in case you'd like to note the number, is 050-157-9996. Without much ado, Erajua, let me start with you. They say ladies first. Erajua, what is health?
Okay, so health is not just the absence of disease, but when we talk about health, we are talking about well-being in every aspect of your life. That's mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Previously, we weren't even regarding spiritually. We were just talking about, the body, the mind, and then some social aspects. But with time, we've come to realize in modern medicine that everybody is a very spiritual being. Even when you don't ascribe to a formed religion like maybe Christianity or medicine, there's still something that you believe in, a higher power, a higher form of life that you might, ascribe some allegiance to. And it also plays a very vital role in the way we perceive our well-being and the way we improve our well-being as well. So when we talk about health, we are talking about well-being in all of these areas and not just the absence of disease.
That's very interesting. I'm glad to hear that today you are acknowledging the spiritual part. Because many people have had situations where faith really crosses with you, and sometimes it's not too pleasant. I believe as we go on in our discussions, we will delve deeper into that.
Right.
Dr. Osei-Tutu, let's hear your voice, please.
Oh, okay, so I'll just add that the feeling of well-being also sits with the individual. Okay, so within you can tell a lot of the times that you are in health. But of course, there are also times where we deny signs that our body gives us to indicate that something might be off. So that is where the opportunities like screening and doing your medical checkups bring those things to the fore and gives everyone the opportunity to confront those things. Yes.
Okay.
So.
All right, that's interesting. So you mentioned screening. As we go on, we'll come to screening. But I'd like to know, how is health measured?
Health is not easy to measure. Okay. The definition we had was very broad, and that is because we are all different. Okay, so health as a service tries to generalize, finds the average. Okay, so there is not one measure for health. Okay, what it is that the health profession does is to break down various aspects of your health and try to put in tests, examinations, things that they can then quantify, okay, across the population, and then say, okay, when we look at a large section of the population, those who are healthy should have from this range to that range, should feel this way, yes, should report this kind of results. Okay, so that is what we then fall onto. But those are also figures, okay, because another saying for healthcare professionals is that you don't treat figures, you treat the individual. So your opinion of how well you feel is a good measure of health itself, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So you said how well you feel. So are you saying that I wake up and I have no aches, I have no pain, I can breathe, I can walk, I can jump about? That's a sign that I'm in good health,
So
and that I may not need to be screened for anything?
okay, so certainly those things that you listed actually are part of a list that a cardiovascular physician, for example, will put their patients through and then score and say that, oh, can you climb this flight of stairs? Can you walk on a plane field? So those things check a certain list in the health system. But you see, that is not everything. It's not everything. How do you feel psychologically? Emotionally, how are you feeling? Are you in touch with yourself? Are you comfortable with situations around and how you are handling it? All those things feed into your health. Yes. So it's just that you're able to do those physical activities. It's not a final answer. That's you are well. Yeah.
So there may be the need to have a scientific way of checking as well.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Rajua, we would like to ask you, what are the aspects of health we have?
Okay, so there are different aspects of health, and even when you come to the physical, okay, there are so many other areas that are ignored sometimes. Everybody is thinking about their heart, everybody is thinking about their blood pressure, their sugars and whatnot. And we are not saying that it's not important, but what we are saying is that health is far more encompassing than what we usually focus on. And one of the areas that we don't look at is our dental health, for instance.
Okay.
A lot of people don't go to the dentist unless they have some ache, except they feel a tooth is loose. If that doesn't happen, you'll never find them going there unless maybe it's mandated by a company as part of their medicals. Another aspect is our eyes. And a lot of people think, oh, I can see when I go, I can see when I drive, I'm reading my text just fine. Why should I go? But a lot of people also don't know that your eyes have their own pressure. And ideally, they should be checked. So they check what we call the intraocular pressure. And that has its own implications, because when it's too high, it also has a long-term effect on your sight and can cause you to lose your vision. So that's one of the areas. When you look at people who work in the industry or industrial workers, those in our factories and whatnot, one very critical area is their hearing. And you'll find that they need to be doing annual hearing assessments, because you can be losing your hearing and not even realizing that these are going on. So it's so much more encompassing. We've spoken about mental health, and unfortunately, especially in our part of the world, when we talk about mental health, people are thinking, oh, he's off his rocker, or, you know, somebody who is walking in the street, you know. But to, you know, crudely use one of the popular sayings, many are mad, but few are roaming, you know. A lot of us have mental issues, and, you know, we are not even cognizant of the fact. And when we talk about somebody having mental issues or somebody being mentally unwell, you know, we are trying to remove the stigma. It's not just that the person, you know, is off, but depression, anxiety, and all of these things really play a very huge role in how you manage your overall health as well. And these are areas that we don't pay much attention to.
Okay.
So you tell somebody, go and see a psychologist. I think you benefit from going to see therapy. And immediately the person takes offense. The doctor thinks I'm crazy. You know, my brother. And, you know, the person would not take it too, you know, easy with you. But a lot of times, especially in my short, like, period of practice, when you probe deeper in all these complicated cases and the rest, you realize that there's some component of mental ill health, there's some component of emotional unease. I know I'm speaking a lot, but
it's fine. Go ahead.
Let me give you one example. So there's one lady that I work with. So I work in a chronic care setting. So we deal mostly with people who are diabetic and hypertensive. And somebody who was previously doing very well, all of a sudden her blood pressures were just shooting up. And we were modifying her medications, adding on, and it just wouldn't budge. So finally, I, you know, probed and I just got in and I was like, you know, madam, like, is there anything going on? And that's when she heaves a big sigh and then she starts to tell me, you know, she had recently been widowed. Husband's relatives were just, you know, misbehaving all over the place. She had one errant grandson who unfortunately had turned to bad behavior and drugs, had run away from the rehab unit he was in, you know, a whole lot of issues. And I had to be blunt with her and tell her that, you know, the problem that you're having, it's not pills and tablets. I can't prescribe anything for you. The best I can do for you is for you to go and talk to someone so that at least you find a way of negotiating it, you know, in your mind. So there are so many other components. You won't believe it, but we need to think very broadly when we are discussing our health and our wealth, because all of these play a very vital role in what we want to do.
Thank you very much. So you mentioned dental, you mentioned mental,
Hearing.
and then hearing. Are there any other aspects you think we should look at?
Well, definitely our eyes.
So our eyes, okay.
Yes, and what we call the special senses, so the eyes, the hearing. The nose usually tends to be fine, you know. If not for COVID, most people wouldn't even realize that you could lose your sense of smell. So usually that tends to be fine.
Yeah, but then with the nose, you might want to look at the respiratory.
Yes, so when we are talking about, so again, these same industrial workers, so you realize that for a lot of them, they have very stringent protocols at their end. They are safety, protective wear. They have health safety officers who make sure that certain things are done, because for them, they're exposed to so many things. The little particles that are generated from whatever product is being created, the noise, the heat. So all of these play a role. But even for us who may think that, oh, I don't do anything dangerous, even our feet is one of the areas that we should pay particular attention to, especially if you are somebody who has had issues with sugar control. Because for you, there's an extra risk than the average individual. You need to always be checking to make sure you don't have any hidden cuts, any hidden abrasions or whatnot, because that can easily degenerate into something else. So a few of them, yes, you might need a health professional to assist you with, but there are also a few things that we ourselves can do. Just recently, we talked about the breast cancer awareness, where people are supposed to go for their mammograms and whatnot. But you yourself can also do the examination. Similarly, the gentlemen can do their scrotal checks for testicular cancers and whatnot. So there's definitely a personal component in trying to safeguard your health. And there's also the role where we as health professionals also come in to try and assist.
Thank you very much. You understand?
Add. Okay, so what your health professional looks for after listening to you when you walk into the consulting room is the person is looking for something that is different from the normal.
Okay.
Okay, so as individuals in our homes, that is something we must also pick up. Yes, so you wake up one day, one side of your face is a bit swollen. It's different. It's different.
Okay.
You take interest in it.
Don't take it for granted.
Don't take it for granted, because our body gives us signs for a reason. Okay, and those are the same things your doctor, your health professional will pick up. Okay, so it's important that we take charge of our health in that aspect. Okay, but just to throw in a bit into the fact, it's interesting how our systems are interrelated, you see. So you don't lose out when you do your dental checkup.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of us reduce dental care to being able to smell from one corner of the mouth to the other without any spaces. Being able to talk and feel comfortable that we are giving up the right vibe. Okay. Our teeth white. Okay. But you see, you gain more than that when you do a dental checkup. You mentioned about our psychological health. It shows in your mouth. Okay, it shows in your mouth.
So I see you are starting to talk about you are going into detail on the dental. I'll come to you on that. But Elijah mentioned one thing that I thought it's so important for the public to be aware of. So she mentioned in the factories, for instance, we have some occupational hazards as breathing in some particles and all. And lately, you guys brought, GMA brought a circular for us to be careful with the dust in the... That's all well and good.
So,
sorry,
occupationally too, so like activities, hobbies.
Yeah.
Okay, so those who play instruments, pipes.
Yeah.
Is it the placing of the instruments in the mouth, the contact with the teeth? Okay, swimming. Okay, the chlorine that we're exposed to in the water. Okay.
I'm interested in that.
Yes, all those things can
What is the effect of the chlorine on us?
So it makes the water a bit acidic. Okay. And yes, so if you are not just a hobby, someone who is doing it once, a few minutes or so a week or something, but if you are somebody who does it a lot, okay, it can lead to areas of loss of tooth tissue. Okay, on the tooth, for example.
On the tooth?
Yes.
But it doesn't go into your mouth?
Oh, so definitely a bit of the water goes into your mouth. Okay, and then the factories too, those who work in environments, battery factories, things like that, some of the vapor. So that's it. So your oral health professional will ask you a lot of questions. Okay, and it helps them to explain some of the things they are seeing when they examine you.
So we'll come to that. We'll come in and you show us some, or you tell us some more things would benefit in checking our dental health. But just on one of the occupational hazards, I always go to the filling stations, the gas stations, Americans would say, and I am concerned about the level of fumes these attendants are inhaling. Is that something to worry about, or I'm just wasting my emotions? Raja.
It's not a waste of emotions, and honestly, some of these things, it's when you go to the more advanced countries, those who are more rigorous and stringent about what they do, that you better appreciate some of these things. But ideally, they have meters that can actually pick up per million. So when they take 1 million portions, how many parts of that will contain that gas particles? And we are talking about really small, and they have an acceptable level that is supposed to be around, Even where they cite these gas stations is something that needs to go for approval. Unlike us, where once you have the land and you have the money, you just put up your own thing. Nobody will say anything. So there's also that level of protection. And when you look at, for occupational health, they have what they call the occupational pyramid. And there are levels of prevention even for there. And they'll always tell you that the best way to prevent is elimination. So for them, they don't even want that trigger to be present. But when you can't eliminate, what then? You try to either substitute or you try to control it. And they make sure that the ways to control it are very high. Even with drinking water, they have these standards that you can't have more than X, you can't have more than Y. Unfortunately, we don't have such systems in our setting. But you are very right. Some of the time, it's a concern. Even you sitting there for those brief seconds, you are even concerned when you are inhaling. And then you wonder, this is somebody's job. He's inhaling left, right.
At least 8 hours in a day. Yeah.
It's a concern.
What can they do about it, just by the way?
So I feel that generally the EPA can actually step up and take a more proactive approach. It's not just about somebody is going to build a land and then you come and test. No, it has to be more than that.
Okay.
There need to be standards. People need to be made aware that there are standards.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that, oh, you're just a sales attendant. Your health is important. And once you make this public, the person will know that, yes, I may not be a top dog in this company, but at least this level of protection I am entitled to. Yes.
Okay, so that's more regulatory.
That's more regulatory.
But for them, just in case the regulatory bodies are not doing their job, would a simple nose mask help?
Something is better than nothing.
Nothing, okay.
But again, to everything, their level.
Yeah. So some may be able to pass through.
A lot would be able to pass, to be honest with you. But I mean, like I said, it's better than them going naked. But when you go to the proper industries, when they are talking about face masks, it's not even the KN95 that we are talking about. They have ones which completely cover not just the nose, but the nose and mouth, because whilst you are speaking, some of the air can enter. And these have built-in filters which are expected to be changed on the regular. So they take out that filter, you put it in, and it is something that is there, they've made provision for. So that is the level, because the gas particles are really small. So you want to make sure that there's no trace if you are going to have that continuous exposure. And they have scales, they have, what this color, it's a color thing, so that once you hit your limit for that filter, it changes color. You know that you have to change it. So ideally, that is what
like
they should be having, like a litmus. Exactly. Yes. Ideally, that is what you should have. And in the serious industries, they have that. But for the,
okay,
average, it's a whole new thing.
So if there's anyone watching us from the regulatory bodies, please. The filling stations is something on my heart. I'm so concerned when I get there and I see the young men and women inhaling the fumes at least 8 hours in a day. I'm sure there's something you can do about it. Dr. Seititu, we're still talking about this and all of these hazards around us. It could be dust, it could be fumes or whatever. What is it in us that prevents us from getting attacked? Does it mean there's a tolerance level? Does it mean we are built such that we can take this up to a point and beyond that it starts showing signs? Because in today's discussion, we are purely discussing preventive things, and I think this is one question we would need you to throw some light on. But before you answer, let me remind viewers that we are streaming live on our social media platforms, Trinity United Church Legon, on both YouTube and Facebook. And also you can send your comments and questions to the comment section on our social media platforms or to the WhatsApp number 050-157-9996. Dr. Seititu.
Okay, so your body heals. Okay, so your body has the ability to heal itself. And in fact, it does that every day, all the time. So
I hear it happens a lot when you sleep.
Yes.
So it goes to repair.
It goes into repair mode. Okay. So even when you have one way that you can tell, or one of the evidences, when you have a viral infection, for example, and you feel warm, okay, that is your body fighting. Okay, yes, marshalling all the forces within the body. Okay,
that's what you call the red blood cells or white?
The white blood cells.
The white
blood cells. Yeah.
So the white fights. They are the soldiers.
They are the soldiers. Yes. So they will sieve things that come into the body, and then will go into their bank and see whether there is a recollection of this thing having been harmful before. Immediately there is a recollection, the attack is instant because the medicine is there.
Yeah. Naturally.
Naturally. So if it is a new thing, quickly they start making, getting a solution for it. Okay. So that is one thing that helps us. Okay. And also your baseline as an individual. Okay, your baseline. How well nourished are you? What other comorbid things do you have? Do you have other chronic infections? So we are talking about exposure to gas, for example. So if you have someone who has a underlying respiratory issue, so the person is at a level that is easily triggered, that person will respond badly in that environment. Okay, so there are states, individual states that we have that will either tip us or allow us to overcome or delay the showing of symptoms that are overt. Okay, not to also forget that some of the things will cause injury that you cannot see. It's only when somebody measures, somebody takes an X-ray. If somebody were to take an X-ray of your chest, okay, a series of them over a period of time, they will see changes. Yes, they will see changes. Okay, so that is how commonly you don't see everyone who is exposed to such things succumbing. Yeah.
Viewers, this is more of Medicine 101. We have the expert here, Dr. Kofi Osei-Tutu. He's a dentist and practices with the the Trust Hospital, my apologies, and a member of Trinity United Church. And we have Dr. Rajwa Kankam-Yeboah, who is a family physician with the Nyaho Medical Center. And they are here today for us to discuss our topic, our health, our wealth. What can we do? This program, in actual fact, it's a leap into what's going to happen at the Trinity United Church next week, Monday. That is on the Independence Day. I'll hold on a moment and I'll wait for them to tell us what it is after what we're going to experience on the 6th of March on Monday. After a break, we'll be going in about 2 minutes. Before we go for the break, I'll start again with you, Dr. Osei-Tutu. Dental. What are some of the neglected aspects of dental health? Okay. My teeth can bite into bones, and I can chew whatever I want to chew. And by the way, is the tongue related to the dental?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can taste.
Yeah.
All my soups, they are fine. What is it?
Yeah.
You just use about 2 minutes to answer this. We'll take a break and we'll come back.
Okay.
You have some time to delve deeper.
Okay, so usually it is what we see. So when you look in the mirror, what do you see? You see your teeth. Okay, you smile. You see the color of your teeth, the number of your teeth. Okay, those are the things that engage us. So for most people, their dental oral health care ends at that. Okay. The only other triggers would be, for example, if they have pain. Okay, they have pain. Yeah. So, but then it is more than that, as we will come to realize. Yes. So, apart from what people will see when they look in the mirror, every other thing is neglected, really. Yes. So typically, it's your health provider who elicits information from you and try to get pointers to see whether something is going wrong with that. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll come back to you on this. So in brief, what you're saying is that we don't need to wait to have a pain. Maybe the nerve hadn't picked up the pain yet, but it's just good to check. All right. All right. So we'll take a quick break, and viewers will be right back. But please don't forget to send in your questions and your contributions, and we would answer them. We have the experts here to answer them. We'll be right back.
With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians.
Welcome back, dear viewers. You are watching Let's Talk About, a program designed to discuss all the aspects of life organized by the Trinity United Church Legon, situated on the Trinity Theological Seminary campus. Today, we are here discussing our wealth, our health, what we can do or what can we do. And with us on the panel, we have Dr. Irajua Kankam-Yeboah, who is a family physician, and Dr. Kofi Osei-Tutu. And for members of Trinity, who is a dentist, by the way, and practices with the Trust Hospital. And for members of Trinity, those who haven't heard a word from Kofi today, here you are. Kofi, before you continue, my mom of blessed memory, may her soul rest in peace, once visited a dentist. And the dentist picked up that, she kept having her sugar levels going up. And, as Dr. Irajua said, you keep giving medications to control them. But then the dentist picked up that she had an infection, in actual fact, in the tooth. And just when that was fixed, they had to drop the dosage of the medication given to her. Is this quite a common occurrence?
Yes, it's very common.
Okay.
So some of the common diseases that interface with dentistry, with your oral health, include hypertension, diabetes. Okay, so doctor mentioned how you should be careful about sores and cuts and those things. Okay, so if you have an infection in the mouth, it's an open sore. Okay, and your mouth is not exactly a clean place. Yes, so it is important that your oral health be top-notch, okay, because it helps to control your diabetes.
Okay.
It's also interesting that if you have poorly controlled diabetes, you know that some of the commonest diseases in the mouth include holes in the teeth, okay, tooth decay, and that is facilitated by sugar in the diet, okay, being exposed, okay, to bacteria in the mouth consistently. Okay, so if you have a poorly controlled blood sugar, there is increased sugar in your saliva. So apart from the dietary sugar you are taking in, at your resting level, the sugar in your saliva is high. So you are providing sugar to the bacteria in your mouth. Okay, so the linkages are many. And okay, so in terms of even mental health, you have a musculoskeletal apparatus, your jaw joints, which is very sensitive to how you are feeling.
Sorry, can you give that medical term again?
Oh, musculoskeletal. So the connection between your muscles and your skeleton. Your skeleton, the
It's
bone.
a frame, okay.
Yes, framework. And you have the muscles that serve as movers. Okay, it's like straps that move it. So your jaw hangs on some of these muscles, and it's very sensitive to how you are feeling. Okay, so commonly you see when people are stressed, what they do, they grind their teeth.
Yeah.
They grind their teeth. Sometimes unconsciously, they are trying to solve a problem. They are grinding their teeth. And your teeth will not forgive you. Yeah, so over time, when we look in your mouth, we can see facets of wear, grooves. You can see that you are wearing away your teeth.
Yeah.
Okay, and your joints, your jaw joints will also reflect it. You start having sounds in the jaw joints when you are moving them because you are working them so hard. The muscles that strap the joints will become bigger, hypertrophy. Okay, sometimes they will even become tender. You touch them and they are painful. You wake up in the morning and you have all this pain around your face, sometimes even a headache, your lower head, the back.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all a reflection of your mental well-being.
Okay.
Okay, and there are other mental conditions where people purge. So bulimia, anorexia, okay. So they show in the mouth. So when you look at the teeth, you can see that this person has been purging because you can see that the contents of the stomach, which is acidic, constantly wears the tooth.
Wow.
And there are specific patterns that you can see. And that this one, the person is wearing from the inside. The person probably is purging. So then we can introduce a discussion. Okay.
Start an investigation.
Yes, and then the person opens up. The person gets help. Okay. So there is a lot of interlinkage.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, viewers. I believe we now know that it's so important to have our dental system checked. And as Doc said, it's not just our teeth, but our mouth, our tongues as well. And so in other words, the entire mouth system. So it goes into a bit into the throat as well, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Rajwa, Dr. Rajwa, would you want to tell us about the other aspects?
Oh, sure. So we've made some comments concerning screening.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think I would like to delve a bit into the levels of screening.
Okay.
Because we have to understand that when we are doing a screening, it's not the same thing for everyone in the population.
Okay.
Okay. So there are levels of prevention that we are trying to aspire to, let me put it that way. So when most people come, they say, oh, we are doing a church screening, like the way we'll be doing a church screening on Monday, and they are going to be checking X and Y, and you come and do that. But you have to realize that in different subsets, it means different things. Now, the ideal that we all want is the primary prevention. And when we say primary prevention in the medical space, what we are talking about is we don't want you to develop risk factors that will let you have a specific condition, okay? So whatever it is that we'll do to prevent you from getting that, that's what we'll do. And that is really the ideal. So I'd want to give an example, something like, let's use hypertension, because that's one of the more common things. So you get young school children, you speak to them about their diet, you speak to them about exercising, you let them do PE and whatnot. And it's all with the mindset that you don't want these children to develop bad habits that will put them at risk of getting hypertension.
That's right.
So the kind of screening that you do for children at that age, it's different because you have a different goal, okay? And when I say children, I use that very loosely. Even our SS, students who, although they are not childlike, we still consider them under that bracket. Then we have people who have risk factors. And these risk factors go from inherent ones or should I say congenital? When we say congenital, something you've been born with from birth. And then we have acquired risk factors. So maybe you know that your mother was hypertensive, your father was hypertensive. You know of your 5 siblings, 4 of them, are hypertensive. So somebody like you have very high risk of developing hypertension, okay? Then we have the acquired ones, the ones we ourselves go out to go and get, like the weight gain that we have all jumped on the wagon, and you know we all need to.
It's not deliberate.
It's not deliberate, but you see, it's easier for an object to fall from the hill and come down than for it to, you know, move up the hill. And it's what we've seen is that with increasing years, you are more likely and more prone to put on weight.
Yeah.
So when you move ahead of yourself and you are gaining that weight, you are increasing your risk and your diet too, because if you are eating foods very high in salt, very fatty foods, fried foods, you know, all the rich things, you are trying to make up for the childhood, you know. You are remembering when you were a child, they would take the meat and give it to daddy, and you are like, now I am the daddy, I make my own money, please bring me the meat, and then they'll fry maybe beef and goat meat and bring to you. Yes, your time has passed, unfortunately. You have to let it go. Let it go. Let the children have it, because for you, you are just acquiring risk factors. So the kind of screening that we do in that subset too is also very different, because you've already acquired the risk factors. Then we have what we call the tertiary prevention. That is those who already have the condition, but may not even know about it.
Okay.
You understand? So yes, you've already developed hypertension. You're already hypertensive. Your blood pressures are through the roof. But you've been so busy at work that you've not even noticed. You've not bothered to check. So when they do a screening and they see certain things, for you, yours is not a matter of be careful. You've reached watch out. And we have to take different measures. So in all of these things, we have to be very mindful when we say screening. So when you go, and then we also have those who already know they have, but by faith are going for the screening, hoping to hear something different. I mean, we are Christians and we all have faith. But sometimes, you know, you just need to accept that maybe the miracle hasn't yet come. So whilst we are waiting for the miracle, you know, what can we be doing in the meantime on earth, you know, to try and ameliorate the situation? So all of these are things we need to be cognizant of, and it's very important that we recognize which subsets we find ourselves in. I will freely use myself as an example. Clearly, I have crossed the weight that one would recommend when it comes to BMI, and I think Kofi will talk about, is one of the things that we'll be checking, you know. When they look at your height, there's a certain weight you shouldn't cross. I and somebody who is 6 feet plus should not be weighing the same because our structures are different and we cannot support it. So when you cross that range that we are looking for, invariably you have certain risk factors and you need to be cognizant of that. And that's one of the things too that we are hoping to accomplish with this screening that we are doing. That it's not just come and get tested, come and do this, but also some element of insights and giving people some counseling, you know, some self-knowledge, some self-awareness. Because again, where we've reached in medicine, we realize that no matter how long you spend with your doctor, majority of the time you're on your own. So now we are trying to push for self-management. We are trying to push for equipping people to be able to handle themselves and whatnot. So most of the work is going to come from you. And we need you to be in a certain frame of mind so that you'll be ready and willing to be able to do the work that is ahead of you.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to sigh even deeper. All right. So before we come to the program coming up on Monday, March 6th, we would like to take a question from Kojo. Kojo is asking, how often should we see a chiropractor as part of our routine checkups? Who would take that?
I would like to wade into this controversial water. So, again, it all comes back to our lack of regulation and our lack of, excuse me to say, standards. Because in other places, when they talk about chiropractors, there are people who have been examined, they've gone through some form of training, you know. They are very stringent things you have to meet, requirements that you have to meet before they give you that license.
Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, a chiropractor is somebody who deals with the spine, and they do what they call adjustments.
Yeah.
For some people, they find it helpful to do with pain, especially chronic pain. You've had an injury, you're not getting any improvement, even though you're on pain medications. They find it helpful. Even for some pregnant women, they are able to do adjustments so that the way they are carrying the pregnancy is less, it puts less pressure on the back, which is fine. But because the spine is such a sensitive area, you know, all the nerves of your body moving from your brain right down, it passes through. The slightest thing that goes wrong, it creates untold pressure. In fact, I have one horror story of a patient who went to see a chiropractor, unregistered, unregulated. Before we could say Jack, this person had adjusted her neck and tore an artery. She bled even before she got to the hospital. She was gone. That was it. They just realized that she had gone off. So what I would say is that, yes, there's a place for chiropractors in some setting. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, I'm in formal medicine. Yes, there is a place for that. I have personally been to a chiropractor before. But I would say that you should do your homework very well. Make sure that this person that you are going to actually has the qualification to, you know, be playing around your spine before you go and, you know, hand it to them on a silver platter. So that's what I was. It's not. Yes, it's very, very delicate. So you just need to be a bit cautious.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Kofi, you want to say something about that? Okay. So then, can you tell us what this all important program on the 6th of March here at the Trinity is?
Okay,
like, let the cat out of the bag.
Okay. So on the 6th of March, the oral health professionals will come to you. Okay, so we don't need to go to the health facilities to do our health checkups. We'll set up in the church here, and then, so when you come, we'll receive you. We make folders for you. So we have booklets that identify you. And that also helps us to track you over time. Okay, so we have records of your past results and comments that we made. We're able to look back and see how well you are doing. Okay, so that's the first stage where you'll be registered, and then from from then you go and do your vitals, your blood pressure. You will do your weight, we'll take your weight, we'll take your height, and we'll calculate your BMI, like Doc mentioned. And once you have those basic things, you go and see the GP, who look at the past results that you've had, will look at what you recorded on the day, and will seek from you any concerns that you have, and mix all those together, and then we'll counsel you. Okay, but of course, we also have blood work. So we have HB, your level of blood. We have your sugar, fasting blood sugar. So it is.
So you're saying on Monday, anyone coming or everyone coming should not, no one should eat. Is this applying to members who are saying they are only coming to check their fasting blood, or everyone or no one should eat before coming?
Okay, so ideally we like everyone to benefit from the fasting. Okay. Yes, and we start quite early.
Okay.
So you're not being inconvenienced.
Okay.
So it will be good if you fast for that.
All right.
And then you come and then do the test.
And how late should one eat? The previous night before coming? You're saying fasting, so...
I think by 7, before 7 p.m. the day before.
So if you intend coming on Monday, please eat by 7 p.m. Don't eat past 7 p.m. The previous night, that's on Sunday. So the fufu must be eaten early, and not too early too.
Not too early. Yeah. Not too early. So yeah, you don't purpose in because you want to get a good result, because of you fast
afternoon.
Yeah, but I'm told there's one test called the A1C,
Yeah,
And
so
if
that
you
is
try
for
cheating
long.
with that, it will.
Yeah,
it will
so that's
get
for
you.
long term.
Long
So
term, okay.
whether you have been sticking to your medication,
Yeah.
okay, because that once lingers on in your system
Okay.
for a long time, so it won't go away.
Okay.
So something you did the past month, the
Yeah.
past few weeks will not
Will
change
not
that.
change that,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's able to tell us whether you are going the long haul with us
Yeah.
or
Okay.
you are picking and choosing.
All right.
Okay. And the good news is that the tests are subsidized. So the ones that you pay for are subsidized. Okay. So ones like the fasting blood sugar and the hemoglobin, a lot of the time they're almost free.
Oh,
They're
okay.
virtually free. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So and then the rest that you
Please say it well. It's free.
free.
You pay
It's
a
free.
token.
So
A token.
yeah,
Okay.
token, yeah,
Token.
All
token.
right.
So yeah. And then the ones that you pay for, the labs give us a very good rate.
Okay.
A very good rate, negotiated.
Okay.
And
And these are dependable labs.
dependable
I mean,
labs.
high
Yes,
level,
dependable
okay.
labs. Labs that we've been using
over a period.
over a period. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else is to be expected?
There will be a stand for oral examination.
So dental?
Dental.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and there's also dietary counseling.
Okay.
Dietary counseling.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like I mentioned before, the GP consultation and counseling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is expected or who is allowed to come? Church members only, or it's open to the general public?
Okay, so the medical team in the church organizes two types of screenings. So the one on the 6th of March is for the church members.
Okay.
For the church members. Later on in the year, there will be one where we go into the community, and that one is open to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it mean that if I have a brother or sister or cousin,
Of course.
They can
Yes,
come.
of course they can come. Yeah.
All right. And this is on the 6th of March, coming Monday. Yeah. So you mentioned we'll have the chance to do our BMI checks.
Yes.
We'll have dental checks. Would we have something for the eye as well? Not sure.
Not sure. Yeah.
Okay, not sure. Raja, is there anything else you'd want to add?
I think Kofi has covered most of them. Yes.
What time are we starting?
We usually start by 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially because of the fasting
Because of
blood.
the fasting,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And which part of the church are we having
the
this?
Sunday school block.
In the Sunday school
Sunday
block.
school block.
Okay.
So it will be collapsed and the whole block will be used
as a
that.
temporary clinic.
It's a temporary clinic.
All
Yeah.
right. Would we have situations where people would have some privacy if they would need some sort of counseling to be counseled?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
So we set up the place in such a way that at the portions where you need to interact one-on-one with the oral healthcare professional, you are separate. Okay, so people are not waiting right beside you, behind you.
To
okay.
eavesdrop.
So yes.
Okay.
So they are not in earshot of what is being discussed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll come back to this program coming on the health screening coming up on the 6th of March. But before we do, we have a question from Stephen. Stephen is asking. Stephen says, stroke used not to be very common amongst young people, but these days you have a good number of young people, most especially males who are as young as 28 years suffering strokes. What could be the common trend these days? And can you educate us a bit on stroke and few things to prevent such occurrences, especially in young people?
That's off, and then Doc will continue.
Okay.
So basically, the underlining thing is the stress level. Okay, stress level. A lot of us. So when you look at the age range, when the individual says young, you're talking about people late 30s, 40s, that kind of. So at that stage, people are under pressure. They are in early managerial positions. They want to make impact. Some are also doing multiple jobs, working far from home, hardly sleeping, working weekends to show their presence at the workplace. Okay, the work demands. Okay, so all these things lead to a number of things. We eat badly. We are taking fast foods, okay, foods that are not nutritious, they are not balanced. We are eating at the wrong times. We are eating the wrong quantities. We are not taking care of our health. We are not doing our health checks. We are not owning them. It is different when your workplace sends you that as part of your requirements, go and do a health check. But do you own it? Are you, like Doc said, you should be part of your healthcare. Yes. So when you see those figures that are high, those figures that are lower than they should be, do you take interest in doing the things that you should do to help them get where they are? We don't make time to exercise.
Exercise,
Yes,
okay.
we need to exercise. We need to move. Our bodies were designed to move, so we need to do that. Okay, so those are some of the things just on the surface.
Yeah.
Okay, on the surface. But Doc will give this one.
I think he has touched on a lot of the things. The other is a very disturbing trend where we find our young men drinking everything and anything, all in the name of sexual prowess and aphrodisiacs. And I think what I find so disturbing and distasteful is, it's like a never-ending cycle, because whenever they meet, this person is telling tall tales that, oh, I can do, 1 hour. And then the next person to outdo hears, okay, me, I can do 2 hours. Then some innocent person somewhere is like, hey, if my friends are doing 1 hour and 2 hours, then I definitely need this thing. And now you can't go anywhere without seeing them doing the advertisements. In other places, depending on the nature of the product, you can't advertise during what is called family time. During certain hours, you can't. But for us, we don't have any compunction. Some even sponsor children's programs, and people are just taking all sorts of things. And you realize that apart from even stroke, kidney failure is really on the rise. A lot of people need dialysis simply because they are drinking things they have no idea of, just based on people's recommendations, And when you couple that with what all that Kofi has talked about, with your poor diet, your lack of sleep, you're not making time to exercise, and then you just add a little dash of you already have that family history, then you realize that it's really everything. It's a perfect recipe for disaster. And it's no wonder that we are seeing the things that we are seeing right now. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah.
Sadly, the normal triggers that send us to the hospital are absent for things like diabetes and hypertension. They won't give you pain.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
They won't give you pain. And your body will function. What your body does is that it's to cope.
Yeah.
So your blood pressure will be as high as ever, but you'll be moving.
What are the normal levels for blood pressure?
So the pumping pressure is 180 millimeters of mercury average, but there's a range. There are ranges.
So we want it 120, the top value 120/80.
80.
Yes.
So the diastolic must
The
be
diastolic is the 80.
80, and
I
then the
like the way you're
systolic.
using our terms. I like it. Yeah, so the diastolic is the one under, which is 80, and then the systolic is 120.
Okay.
And depending on which country you are using, the Americans, they are very aggressive with everything.
Yeah.
So they have set a very high standard. They say 130/85. If your blood pressure hits 130/85, to them you are hypertensive.
Oh.
Start management, in order to try and preempt some of these complications. The UK, very polished and genteel people, they'll take their time. They are saying 140/90.
Okay.
And in Ghana, for the most part, we use the 140/90.
Okay.
So once you are clocking that regularly, but like Kofi said, people walk to the hospital all the time. Sometimes they're even escorting other people. And they'll say, whilst I've come to escort this person, let me check my BP. You go and check 200/160. And this person is even, he's telling you that I can't stay to take anything. Or I have a meeting in 2 hours. I have a meeting in 1 hour. So I'll go and come back. Say I'm not feeling anything.
And you probably might not come back.
That is the thing. There's really no guarantee.
Yeah, I see. Thank you very much. We have another question from Kojo. He says, Kojo is asking, how do I know the ideal range for my height? So I know if I'm overweight or underweight. Kojo, you'll have to come here on Sunday. On Monday, God willing, and you know this. But maybe you can touch on it briefly because we must be rounding up by now.
There are calculations that go into it. Okay, so use a metric system. You take your weights and then your height, and we calculate as a formula. There's
Okay.
a formula.
Yeah,
for
so
that.
Kojo, I'm told that there are formulas. Come, and you know. Before we wrap up, I'm going to bring one controversial thing. We are Christians, and the Bible tells us that God says He will be our God, our healer. My sister always jokes with this joke, and she's like, doctors. Nyankopɔn no sa doctors Jehu sikadi. That's a joke, by the way. Where does faith meet medicine?
Okay, so it's important. Faith is important in medicine. So here I'll talk about faith generally. It's not the organized faith per se, but typically people have a certain belief, okay, and they have faith in that. All right. So I'll take it from the reverse. So we have something we call the placebo effect, okay, in medicine, where, in our culture, people, for example, would be upset when they go to hospital and they're not given any medication. Then also, people would be upset if they went to hospital and they were not injected, okay. What they are being injected with, they don't know. But just the fact that they have been injected or a drip containing something was put on them, they feel a jolt of life. Okay. So that feeds into their thinking, their faith, their belief, and it helps them to heal. Okay. Then you also see that even how hospitals are set up nowadays, it's not that gloomy place. You have flower pots, there are paintings, you have TVs on the wall. Things that it's supposed to connect you to that. You are a social being, you're a spiritual being. And there's evidence that when you put people in those kinds of environments, when you allow people to tap into their faith, they heal faster. They leave the wards faster. Yeah, okay. Yes, and they mobilize. They go home. And so that is, faith has a role. Okay. So in these ways it helps, but you can have faith if it is not tapped into correctly, being negative to how the person heals, like combining other things with your medication and not disclosing it to your health professional. Okay, shortening your history. So you have a swelling, a lump. You say that, I saw it yesterday. Okay, but you saw it months ago, and you went to other places for faith healing, things like that. So in trying to hide that part from your health professional, you make it difficult for a health professional to be of help to you quickly. Okay. Yeah. So these are the things I'll say.
So I think he's touched on one aspect, and honestly, sometimes you can even tell the outcome, because a patient who comes like, more often than not, that person doesn't make it, And I think as Christians, we believe in the power of confession, that whatever it is that you are confessing, it takes root. And it's something that we need to own as well. But when we talk about the role that faith plays in medicine, sometimes, there are certain things that we say modern medicine can't help you with. Or maybe where you've gotten to, there's nothing we can do about. And even then, faith plays a part, and it goes beyond just healing. Because somebody who has that faith that I know the one I have trusted in. There's a purpose to my pain. There's a purpose to my suffering. This situation is not just bad luck, or it's not just because somebody cares me, but I have a creator who knows about it, who cares about the situation I find myself in. That person, even though that person is not healed, would have better health than that person who doesn't have any hope, you know. There are certain, as family physicians, there are certain tools that we use, and one of them is to do with the hope index in the person's faith. And once you assess this individual and you realize that this person doesn't have hope, it's a red flag. Because yes, they might tell you maybe you have this cancer, we can't do anything about it. But somebody has been living with that same cancer for years. He's moving up and down. Before you realize, something completely unrelated will take them, you know. And people will later be surprised that this person had X and Y. But another person too would just be so much coiled in that I have this, I can't do anything, I can't move, that it's the person more or less, you know, it's a learned helplessness. The person can't move beyond that. So I think that as Christians, and especially if we believe the things that we say we believe in, our vision or our understanding of faith in medicine, it should go beyond just the healing. That, you know, yeah, though he slay me, I will still trust in him. And that gives us a peace and a sense of well-being, and which is also a form of health as well.
That's right. Yeah. She has preached, and we have heard. So we have to be careful. You know, the moderator of the Presby Church, Reverend Professor Joy Manti, once preached here at Trinity, and he gave the difference between faith and shishi. If you see fire and you say, by faith, I'm going to step in that fire, it's not going to burn me, that is certainly not faith. It is what he calls shishi. So when we are sick, when we are seeing the symptoms, we don't even need to wait for the symptoms. Let's just, from the education we've had tonight, let's see medical professionals. They will check us out. God has promised us good health. So we'll just go, he'll confirm, or they will confirm to us that yes, you are in very good health, your levels are fine, and keep doing what you're doing. And that will be well with you, as God has promised. But if you do what you are not supposed to do, and you also don't go for these preventive checks, you may be heading for disaster. Before we close for today, you may have some few words, your closing remarks, and just 30 seconds each. I'll start with you, the lady first.
Thank you. I think all I'd want to say is that I would like to encourage all of us to come for the screening. Yes, even though the primary target is the church members, if you know any member of the Trinity United Church, come along. We won't sack you. Come and get checked. It's better for you to come than for you not to come. So that is my parting message, that anyone at all who can come, you come.
Thank you very much. Dr. Seitu.
Yes, and also make use of all the resources that will be available on that day. So yes, we may be interested in your blood work, your sugar, but take advantage of the dietary counseling, take advantage of the oral health screening, psychological, everything, and also own your health. Own your health. Be a partner in your healthcare. Yeah.
Viewers, the doctors have said it all. They are inviting you. The doors are open on Monday, 6th of March, at the Trinity United Church, Legon, on the Trinity Theological Seminary campus. God bless you. Thank you for watching. And let me remind you that this month of March, we have a lot more exciting topics to be discussed or for us to talk about on Let's Talk About. Meet us here same time next week, and you'll be amazed at what you don't know about Ghana. God bless you and good night.